And now we'll take a look at thought leadership. Okay, how are you going to build this authority and this credibility that someone's going to want to read your paper or open your email or sit down and talk with you? And we'll look at two different ways to do that, inbound and outbound approaches. Okay? So again, thinking of your funnel, thinking of our funnel, where does this sit? Inbound and outbound isn't a phase, it's more of a philosophical approach to how you're going to engage with your customers, your prospects, and what you're going to offer them. Okay? So with the difference with inbound, again, go back to the very beginning what we were talking about, emotion. The focus is on their pain, not your solution. And this is a tough one to get over, to overcome with clients or with C-level or the owner of the business, because oftentimes, especially with sales, they want the focus to be on, we're great. We have the best solution for your problem. Come and listen to that. And this is all about shifting that to giving away your expertise for free, being okay with that, being okay with saying, we're going to provide ungated content. We're going to give away content that the competitors could get and steal and take. We talked about HubSpot earlier. They have great resources for training, for websites, for sales, for marketing. I get their newsletter. It's fantastic. And it's made for small and medium businesses. If you want enterprise, you're going to look at Marketo. But HubSpot's content is great, and they give it all away. It's hard to make that leap, though, to getting to that point, showing them everything, emphasizing on education and information, and there's trusting that the sales will come after. Okay? So it's a great way to show your confidence and to build credibility and just to say, here it is. Here's the value that I have. And we're going to give it away to you for nothing. Okay? What are some ideas for doing thought leadership? Okay, I came up with just a few here to get us started and to look at. Webinars I love, and we'll look at that in more depth in a minute. The ability to go talk with a reporter, building a spokesperson program for your business, and having someone who's set up. Byline articles I love, and I put here lives two lives because life one is when it's pushed out into the world and is published and you read about it in Bethesda Magazine or Washington Post, whatever it might be. And then you can send it out to your audience, to your prospects in an email, and it's even more powerful than if you wrote it yourself because it's got that third-party stamp of objectivity and credibility. Blog posts, give it away. Publishing on your own. If you can't get into the Washington Post, you can publish things on your own, whether that's LinkedIn. Greg McDonough, I used to be in his forum and I subscribe to his newsletter for financial tips and advice. It's fantastic. Ashton is using medium.com for his marketing mishaps Monday, right? Industry surveys and studies are a great way to show your knowledge. Jeff, you do a lot of that, right? We used to call it issues hijacking. So something happens in the news, Silicon Valley Bank, for example, and you use that as an inroad or entry point to something you want to talk about. So someone else does the effort of the survey, the study. They spend $500,000 to do it. You can then comment on it in your blog or in your email, in your newsletter to your customers. How does this apply to what you do? Okay, good way to kind of get the impact, but not having the budget. Okay, videos, trade associations we'll look at in more depth in a moment. And again, the last couple there, this is effort and time and money to put into things you're going to give away. You got to be okay with that. Ungated content, templates, calculators. So webinars is one that I like to look at a little bit more. And the secret with webinars, unless you're On24 or Zoom or a company that actually has the software for it, is it's not about the webinar. Having a webinar is great. It gives you 3 or more touch points with the customer. Invite them to it for the first time, remind them it's coming up, do the webinar, and I'm sorry I missed you, or I'm glad you could attend. I don't actually care if they come to the webinar. I want to have the conversation with them, okay? And webinars are great because it's built into the program. You got to be in touch multiple times. It's about the conversation, okay? And why I love webinars for B2B in particular is you're up there front and center. You're center stage. You're showcasing your expertise. You are, Phil Donahue, or you're the host, and you're able to bring in people to meet with you, to talk with you in more depth, external guests, clients, prospects. I've seen people also do this as a podcast kind of a series. The content's very reusable. You could take the idea for the webinar, repurpose it as an article, do a blog post on it, could break it up into multiple chapters or parts that you then push out to people. It can live as a webinar on demand after the fact. And it can be used, have a lot of legs, okay? What's also nice is that fear of missing out concept. Like, this is an event, I need to be there. Even if I can't make it, I can register and then get the recording afterwards. Well, that's one person's email address you've now gotten who's interested in your content. And finally, it's a great way to partner with a trade association or a non-competing company on something that, again, you're then reaching a bigger audience through doing that, okay? A lot of different tools to do webinars. I just put a couple of them up there. SurveyMonkey can be good for getting survey questions. You ask 3 or 4 questions and you give the results in your webinar. You can also ask questions during the webinar live and then talk about the results that came in and report back on those results later. Lead pages for your landing pages. Anybody take a stab at why I have OpenAI up here? It's a great tool for that brainstorming concept. So I want to give a webinar on videography. Let me ask a real specific question into into the tool and see what they start with. It's not where I'm going to end up. It's a great way to get some ideas in there, do some brainstorming, and it kind of takes care of itself. Of course, I got to build on it from there, but it's been a great way to get things started. Next tactic I'd like to look at briefly is trade associations. And why I love trade associations for B2B in particular is that you're a member. Through your membership, you get access to the rest of the audience in your association. Not always, but oftentimes you can't get that. You can't scrape that because it's not publicly available. You get access to it when you're a member, okay? You can be involved, I call it a seat at the table. You can be on a committee or involved with their planning, their membership areas. And it's a great way to be meeting people in your sector and to spread your reach and your credibility. What's beautiful about it too is you're not making all brand new stuff. You're not making brand new bylines or presentations or content. You've already got that. You're sharing it with this different audience, repurposing content and giving it a second or third life. Great place to do partnerships with non-competing companies, whether it's a speaking event at a trade show or a study or a byline. You're working with somebody who's in your space in the sector that also has can help you raise your profile. And of course, the opportunity to speak at a conference or a breakout or an event. Some things to look at, particularly trade associations, maybe more for sponsorships, not so much for membership, but can you have exclusivity? Can you own the area that is your industry? Could you be the only lobbyist who joins trade association X? Could you be the only developer who does that? And that's a nice place to be. Sometimes you got to pay a little bit more for it, but that can have value. It's a long-term relationship-based program. Associations change, the membership changes over time. You're in the group, hopefully, that's making decisions, and you're involved with how the association changes. I talked about repurposing. Built into the approach for any good association is multimedia and multi-channel. Well, that's what you should be doing for your marketing anyway. So it's mimicking a lot of the best practices that you need to use, and again, you're repurposing some of your content. It gives you more objectivity than on your own, and memberships and associations are always changing, and you can be part of that. What I like to look at with associations is deliberately to go outside of my own tribe. I'd rather go to an event or a conference association of lawyers, bankers, and doctors than other marketing people, right? So look outside of what is your core function, and that's where you're going to find more opportunities to showcase what you do because you're different, again, standing out in a crowd. You're different and unique.